A wrench flies through the air and cracks your windshield. It's the unexpected that makes life so smashing. Like walking along a lake and seeing apes come out of the water. Like talking to a physician about the half-life of hope. Like waking up to the sound of pleading. There are many ways to begin to die, but one is not surprise. We all have an aging relative who offers in his handshake the strength he still pretends. Mine was married to a petty woman of endemic energy. They sired your most obnoxious cousins. I wish I had a mirror implanted in my brain so that I could see my life less directly than I do. I had a dream that daylight needed repainting. I called my uncle in Kentucky. He said he'd take care of it, but then he died when his car T-boned a dove.
Inevitability. It's what's for dinner. Step lively through the arrogance of landscape. Step precisely across the minefield of joy. Tread independently the airport road. Treat your neurons with respect. Do I have a second? It takes only one grain of sand to sabotage the aperture, to desolate a lens. Place your glasses in a vial of acid. The frames dissolve apace. When information fails, there is always information theory. When the future falters, there is always the redacted past.
How to boil water. Get a pot, fill it with water, place it on the stove, turn on the flame. When tiny bubbles appear and grow wild, voila, it is done. How to cook an egg. Read my poem, How to Boil Water. Drop an egg in it. How to eat. Press your food into the hole just below your nose. How to think. Pick one thing you've been told. Pick this one thing you've been told and pick and keep picking at it until the scab of unknowing falls off. How to love. Sweep into one corner all your ego. Set a match to it. How to die. Watch those who live in your neighborhood. Watch them closely. Copy what they cease to do. I'm riding on a bus, sitting next to a woman eating a yellow tomato. We both need a bath. Outside the window is Kansas, then Nebraska. I note that in my ratty journal. Take a banana from a paper bag and pretend to shoot myself. All the reading lights are out. No one can see me. It's the chilling middle of the night. I hallucinate my future. I'm a CPA with asthma. I'm a zoologist with MS. I'm a baby who died of SIDS. The bus pulls into a rest stop. I buy a grilled cheese, a vanilla shake, some corn chowder. I covet a pearl button denim shirt. In the men's room, I read the offerings on the vending machines. Two truckers come and go, talking of Tupelo. Stumbling back to my seat, I stare out a dirty window into the sanitary blackness. We're 300 miles from dawn. I had studied the prohibitions carefully. We had been warned not to eat any raw fruit, but when I saw the bowl of freckled apples that morning at breakfast, something numinous came over me. Greedily, I grabbed an apple and cut into fourths. The taste of what is denied us is always sweet, and so are the careless acts that spell our doom. Love must have seemed so as it steamed out of the primitive soul. In the land of amorous gods, who balance on bubbles of swift bliss, it is the elephant who most knows about restraint. When I lived in Valdosta, I relied on the Solace of Olives. When I moved to Brainerd, I depended on the Solace of Olives. Transferred to Taos, I turned to the Solace of Olives. Alone in Eugene, I sought out the Solace of Olives. Retired in Anaheim, I entertain the Solace of Olives.
He's looking at Euclid, but he can't concentrate. The noise of Bakersfield cicadas is invading his ears. He's looking at Euclid, but he can't concentrate. Hoboken memories are marching into his mind. He's looking at Euclid, but he can't concentrate. Far East Anise is stuck between his teeth. He's looking at Euclid, but he can't concentrate. The elevated smell of Delphi is seeping into his nose. He's looking at Euclid, but he can't concentrate. A Catalan fishing boat is sailing into his eyes. He's looking at Euclid. Meanwhile, the sandstorm of time keeps polishing the geometry of space.
The poor sup from the tanzanite vial of God and are reconfigured for accomplishment. The disaffected sip from the amorite vial of God and are redecorated with badges of false corduroy. The disoriented stare at the bakelite vial of God and re-witness the bloody crucifixion of money. The holy tear at God's leverite vial and are redisposed to contiguous evisceration. The porous bear the anchorite's vial atop columns of luminous insolvency. The fractured fashion an anthracite vial in violation of inviolate autonomy. God reconnoiters the limits of hell amid cries of insuperable ecstasy. On the advice of a friend, I've stopped dreaming. As a result, I've developed a florid psychosis in which everything I've dreamed for the last 33 years is now real. I have new friends, a new job. My dead relatives have all come back. I'm half my weight, have all my hair, reside in Prague. It's February 1924. Kafka won't die until June. Freud's 67. He's just published The Ego and the Id. My superego refuses to read it. Lottie Reininger is working on the cutouts for Prince Ahmed. I bought a radio embroidered with pearls. I tuned it to the future, but it only plays the sleepy past. When it rains, I can really think. Was that how it went? Well, maybe my memory is not watertight, but what is these days? My eyes widen at the coincidence of plashing verticals and the stolid columns of the world. I love that hopeless warfare. I always think of raindrops as the underdogs, the frail insurgents of heaven against the stumpy dictatorship of the material. But now the rivers are rising and the streets have bowed down to boats. The brick house can stand up to the big bad wolf, but not to the water cannons of the apocalypse. The rain is getting smarter. The storm clouds are overpopulating. The sky is scary. It's not your parents' revolution anymore.